Pope Francis expressed it so beautifully. It was and it is not only about listening to each other, but to listen to the divine in others. So we try to follow our specific principle of the synod by listening to each other and discerning together what is at stake. It is not about what you believe, but about being and behaving differently because you believe. And so, today it should be a kind of spiritual conversation which makes space for others, instead of being dominated by our own clearly thoughts. The point is not that I discern, but that we discern together. And this method of conversation is the spirit, is helpful for learning to listen at a deep level to each other, and for relating to each other in a new way. Its main fruit is communion and friendship, and the willingness to learn from each other. New things arise as a learning process. So at the end, it is a kind of learning process and a learning school to practice silence and listening to silence, to ourselves, to God, and to the other. And so I want to close my brief welcome with the words of the Jesuit Father Ferenc Kacs. Yesterday we had, at least at the evening, a moment of contemplative prayer group. And he said we have to give space. Giving space is love. You let the other be. I hope in this sense we will look at each other. And I'm very thankful for all the people who helped to create this space of encounter. Thank you so much. Hello. Good afternoon. I ask sorry for my English because it's a little. And I introduce the first one speaker, that is the Cardinal Church of San Giacomo Catu, and Yvonne introduced before, and the Cardinal is born in Kerala in 1973, and he served for many years in the Holy See. Sorry, do you see? And he served for many years in the Holy See Diplomatic Corps across several countries. Made a cardinal in 2024. He was appointed prefect in January 2025. Known for his global experience and the deep commitment to peace and the emphasis in interreligious dialogue and the vital path for harmony among cultures and religions. Thank you, Cardinal.
Respected representatives from various religious traditions present here, dear Reverend Fathers, especially the Father Provincial, who is present here with us, sisters, brothers, and dear friends, good evening. Buonasera. gift and power of silence, which invites us to engage in dialogue among us. First of all, on silence that our religious traditions cherish. Our spiritual traditions view silence as a helpful means for establishing communion and communication with divine, and as a humble device that helps us to calm us down and acknowledge our errors and sins without inner pride and seek forgiveness from and reconciliation with our brothers and sisters who feel hurt and harmed by our words and specific acts of commission and omission. We are here to reflect more on dialogue in silence rather than dialogue on silence. The dialogue in silence is an experience in which the powerful whispers of love that each of us hears in our inner space, soul and conscience unite with the whispers of love of others. This gives rise to a dialogue with others, crossing the confines of linguistic, cultural and religious barriers and communicating the truth and joy in freedom, love and service. Therefore, the most important component of this dialogue is silence, where whispers of love are heard and gathered. It is only in silence that profound truths are understood, hurts are healed, benedictions flow inward and outward, and the divine voice is heard. That is why silence is one among the spiritual practices common to many spiritual and religious traditions. At the core of this practice, the fundamental goal is the same: connecting as human beings with the divine and helping us grow in an intimate relationship with God and see life as a gift of love and a vocation to love and a shared pilgrimage with other inhabitants of the earth. The mystical traditions of Asia, be it that of Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, etc., recognize the way of silence as a crucial spiritual practice, though with different names and emphasis. In Hinduism, it is known as mauna, involving the stillness of the mind and preserving spiritual energy. In Buddhism, it is linked to the achieved states like nirvana through the practice of noble silence. For Taoism, silence is essential for understanding Tao and achieving harmony through techniques like Wu Wei, that is action without action. Christianity too views silence as an essential path to connecting with God, as it creates space for prayer, reflection, and a deeper relationship with Him. The Holy Bible speaks of God meeting His people and communicating with them in silent moments. For example, in the first book of Kings, we read that God revealed Himself to prophet Elijah, not in a strong and violent wind, nor in an earthquake, nor in a fire, but in a still, small voice, in a sound of sheer silence. Sometimes this sound is referred to as a whispering sound. Though God speaks to us in various loud and clear ways, His whispers of love reach us in silence and stillness. Mother Teresa of Kolkata said, God speaks in the silence of the heart, and He sees us in the secret.
silence, one hears the whispers of love that come from the divine. It was only in the sound of sheer silence that God revealed to Prophet Elijah what his mission was going to be. God reveals to us our mission as He speaks to us in silence. Listening to Him in silence involves a dialogue between Him and the listener. There is speaking and listening. Above all else, it is an experience and not a mere exercise. This is the model of the dialogue in silence we speak about, which favors and furthers the dialogue in silence, that is, open to speaking and acting with others. In this age of fear, noise, distractions, and hyperconnectivity because of computers and smartphones, silence, as many of us would agree, has become an outdated and perhaps even a despised element of life that we wish to avoid. Moreover, without a wise and virtuous use of social media, such as WhatsApp and other means of communications, especially nowadays artificial intelligence, we are viewed to engage in endless chatter and insatiable entertainment that leave little or no room for silence and stillness. Cardinal Robert Sarah, in his book The Power of Silence Against the Dictatorship of Noise, reminds us of the need to reclaim the path of silence, to listen to the voice of God within us. He says, one day, beyond the invasive noise that is perversely interwoven in so many lives, it will be important to listen once again to the still, small voice. Through silence, we need to reclaim the inner space for our reflection on God, on others and on the created world. Silence will help us to see the truth about ourselves, about others, and about the world. It will help build connections with others and make us empathetic and receptive towards others and towards the world, cultivating in us a sense of belonging to one another. To quote Mother Teresa once again, the more we receive in silent prayer, the more we can give in our active life. We need silence to touch the souls of others. Silence fosters awareness about our own selves. It also nurtures in us a positive disposition to respect and to listen to others more deeply, observing verbal as well as non-verbal cues, and to respond with clarity and wisdom, leading to a more meaningful interaction. It creates in us the urge to join together in the service of the world. This way, dialogue in silence will happen within and among us. I am hopeful that the reflections at the seminar today will spur us on to recovering the much needed silence in our often plagued hectic life, and in being more open and receptive to the God's whispers and promptings of love and forgiveness, service and fellowship, fraternity and solidarity as a shared mission with others who have dialogue in silence with God and wish to articulate that experience in dialogue with others. The experience of dialogue in silence gives us peace and makes us go towards others, and it creates community and communication. But we can test it out as Pope Francis once suggested. This is one of the tests. Am I calm in my peace? Do I get lulled to sleep? It is not the Lord's. Am I in peace? And do I want to communicate it to others? Do I want to accomplish something? That is the Lord's peace. That is why our topic today and an invitation to dialogue in silence is so poignant, rich and necessary. Not just our personal discernments, but all of our debates and disagreements, all of our searching for common responses to political and social as well as theological issues could use the cleansing of the mind and heart that silence brings. That would ensure that before we begin our arguments with all their logic and erudition, we are first of all grounded in that sound of sheer silence where God speaks His word. May the interreligious reflections on the theme, drawn from the spiritual treasures of diverse religious traditions, make us more and more lovers of silence in order for us to experience the inner peace ourselves and to contribute to the cause of peace and common good in dialogue and collaboration with others. Thank you, all of you, for your kind attention.
I really appreciate His Eminence Cardinal George Chavara for his enlightening speech and the inaugural address. As all of you know, he is the pride of our nation. Especially, he is the pride of our church in India. So he is the right person to be the prefect of this interreligious General Dicastery of Vatican, because he is coming from a land where we celebrate all religious traditions together, all 9 major religious traditions, and his words were echoing the same. So I would appreciate Father Daniel to garland Cardinal George Chavara in the name of the provincial.
Now, I introduce the second speaker, and it's CIIIS George, and he's the Procurator General of the CFMC congregation in Rome. He was Associate Professor of Moral Theology of Dharma Vidya Spectrum. Yes, it's the correct word. Sorry. Bangalore, where he was Dean of the Faculty of Theology, and he continues to teach as a visiting professor. He is also visiting professor at the John Paul II Institute Lateran Rome and at the Gregorian University Rome. He was an editor in Asian Horizons and is a general editor of Jevadara Journal of Theology and serves on the editorial board and a few journals. He is co-chair of Catholic Theological Ethics in the World Church and was president of the Association of Moral Theologians of India from 2016 to 2025. Thank you.
Thank you for the words of the introduction and welcome. Your Eminence, also Father Roby, the Director of the Centre in Delhi, Professor Igone, and the dignitaries, and also the dais, and also see Father Matthew Butterwetter along the leading figures in Rome. And above all, greetings on behalf of Chavara Institute of Indian and Interreligious Studies in Rome. So this center was established some 50 years back. It was very active, but since the COVID times, it has not been very active. We are trying to revitalize it. So, and Father Roby has become an occasion, his initiative has become an occasion for us to receive the activities. So, I would like to thank, first of all, His Eminence for his presence and the valuable message. I also would like to thank and congratulate Father Roby for this initiative, Professor Ivone for organizing it. Silence, as already said, is not merely the absence of sound, but a profound experience. It is an invitation to be with oneself and with the other, the divine. It is an experience of knowing oneself more and more profoundly and the divine. Knowing oneself and the divine helps us to know others better, because silence helps us understand that ourselves and others are reflections of the other or sparks of the divine. Silence is at the heart of Christian spirituality. As His Eminence already explained, prophets and leaders in the Bible were people of silence. From silence only they obtained the wisdom and the strength to preach and act. Jesus spent hours, days and weeks in silence, as the Gospel narratives tell us. Maybe the mother of Jesus was meditating on all this in her heart, a profound expression of silence and its meaning. Great saints and spiritual doctors of the Christian tradition were people of silence. For example, Jerome, Simon on the Pillar, St. Anthony of Egypt, St. Basil, St. Teresa of Avila, St. Teresa of Lisieux, St. John of the Cross, and surely the founder of the CMI congregation, one of the founders, St. Kyriakos Chapel. The list is unending. We can say, in all religions, silence occupies a place of prime importance. Hindu sages who spent days and months and years in silent meditation, Buddhist sages who have developed various methods of silent meditation and spend time in silence every day are only a few examples. Silence is an invitation to understand myself, who I am, what I am, the origin and meaning of my life. It's an invitation to accept me as I am, and to be comfortable with myself, with my strengths and weaknesses, with my abilities and limitations, to be at peace with myself. That journey, that pilgrimage into oneself, helps many to encounter the one, the divine, as many sages in various religions could. In fact, encountering myself in the presence of the divine gives me the real peace, since the presence of the divine helps me see myself more clearly, to understand myself as the divine sees me, to accept me as the divine accepts me. That encounter leads me to understand others as God sees them, to accept them as God accepts them, to forgive myself and to forgive others. The core message of Jesus is that God is my Father. God is the Father of everyone. Hence, God is our Father, and thus we are all children of God and brothers and sisters as the children of the same Father. Experiencing the fatherhood of God in silent meditation helps me see myself as a child of God and to see all others as children of the same Father and to love them as my own sisters and brothers. That is the way to harmony, to peace. Our founder, St. Chavara, used to call God Alla. In Malayalam, at least some of us understand. Ende Appa, my Father. So that experience actually he could gain through meditation, silent meditation. Or as the great Hindu sages have said, Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. The journey inside, the interior pilgrimage, helps me to see myself as the divine, or the spark of the divine, and to see others also in the same way. Thus, silence is an invitation to love myself, to love others, and to love the divine. We are living in a world of sound and noise. Many are unable to spend even a few minutes in silence. Silence is frightening to many. In such a world, we are reminded of the importance of silence and the whispering of love, which is the fruit of the pilgrimage to the inner world, where we meet ourselves, others, and the divine. May this gathering here, this sharing here today, inspire us to spend at least a few minutes every day in silence. And above all, I understand that I should say that to myself. May God bless us.
Known for his leadership in education, interreligious dialogue, art, and cultural exchange. Director of the Chavara Cultural Centre in Delhi, and the former secretary of the CIIIS Dialogue and the Ecumenism Commission. Okay. Thank you.
warm greetings from India, a land of ancient learning, profound diversity, and an enduring thirst for wisdom. Your Eminence, respected scholars, and friends in faith and fellowship, I bring greetings from India, a land where silence has always been sacred. In our ancient wisdom, silence is not emptiness, but fullness. Not the absence of sound, but the presence of something deeper and more real. It is the sacred breath between words, the still space where hearts meet beyond speech, and wherever the soul encounters the eternal. Across all faith traditions, silence has been honored as a path to peace and oneness. In Hinduism, the Upanishads, silence is called the doorways to the self. In Buddhism, silence becomes mindfulness, awareness of every breath. In Islam, the Sufi listens for the divine whisper in the depths of the heart. In Judaism, silence is reverence before the unspeakable name of God. And in Christianity, silence is prayer, the language of the soul that listens more than it speaks. As Mahatma Gandhi, the founder of our nation, India, once said, in the attitude of silence, the soul finds the path in a clearer light. When we are still, when we are silent, our hearts become transparent. We begin to see what noise has hidden, the presence of God in everything, and the image of our brother and sister in every face. So, in the Holy Bible, the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 6, verses 6, speaks, but when you pray, go into your room. When you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. There, in the stillness of our inner room, we encounter the divine presence that never leaves us. There we learn to see the world through the eyes of love. If we listen with care, we discover that creation itself lives in a silent worship. Every sunset, every falling leaf, every heartbeat in nature holds a moment of silence, a communion with the Creator of the universe. We too are invited to join this sacred rhythm, to pause, to breathe, to remember. Yeah, there was a presentation, and it's not working properly, that's why I should. Right. This is my presentation. This is my PPT. And God created everything in silence. God created everything. When we start practicing silence, this is important. When we start practicing silence, we take part in the very act of God's creation. In silence, we become co-creators. We discover that creativity itself is born from silence and stillness. Those who practice silence have always given something beautiful to the world. All artists, all visionaries, peacemakers, everyone practiced silence. So in that silence, life becomes prayer. Life becomes silence becomes an encounter. By experiencing that, when we really experience the divine in our hearts, we begin to see the other as our brother. We need to create a silent space in the innermost part of our heart and to experience the divine presence in our heart. We will be able to see the other as our brother and sister. You are my brother, you are my sister. Yeah, she'll explain later. She doesn't know English, I'm really sorry. She will explain. This is something precious. She will explain later. See, my dear friends, experiencing silence, experiencing divine. That helps us to see the other as our brother and sister. So, in India we say the entire world is one family. Vasudhaiva Kudumbavam. Vasudhaiva Kudumbavam. My brother, Centro di San Giacomo, understands better this. Am I right? He represents the dicastery for Interreligious dying. The Vasudhaiva Kudumbavam, the concept of the entire family is one. We become the members of the entire family when we start practicing silence. I close my PPD, it's not working, but one thing is working: silence. We find silence in between our words. Our words are meaningful when we realize the space in between. Silence gives us meaning to our words. We experience silence in between the chirping of the birds, in the flowing of river, in falling of the petals. In between the falling of the petals, we really enjoy silence. So let us experience silence to experience divine, to realize the other is my brother and sister. So we experience that we belong to one family. We belong to one family. That's the message of Christianity. That's the message of Hinduism. That's the message of Buddhism, Jainism, Zoroastrianism, Parsi, Baha'is, everyone, Sikhism. Everyone says the same thing. We belong to one family. Unless we practice. So let us do one thing. Let us start practicing silence. We have some time spent today for meditation. So I don't prolong my speech. Experience silence, stillness. That will give us peace. That will be the real realization is that we belong to God and each other. Thank you.
Yes. And now, the next speaker is Joseph Jones. He is an associate professor at the Pontifical Faculty of Educational Science at Sirium in Rome. Thank you. Good evening, buonasera. But parlo in inglese, va bene. In between in Italiano. Traduci un po'. Benissimo, facciamo. Ok. Dear friends, Your Eminence, and all of my students present here, the power of silence, a Christian perspective. Cosa diciamo della cristianità, il silenzio. We gather today under the title that speaks gently yet profoundly, whispers of love. It reminds us that silence is not but presence, è una presenza. The presence of God that listens, heals and unites. In our restless and noisy world, we often fear silence as absence. È una assenza, sentiamo tante volte. Silence, then, is not withdrawal from life. It is a return to its source, to the Word who has with God from the beginning. Gospel of St. John, chapter 1:1. Già abbiamo parlato, sentito dalla prospettiva cristiana, qui io voglio anche sottolineare alcuni passi della Bibbia, soprattutto del Vangelo. Christ's example for contemplative silence. The Gospel demonstrates that Jesus himself sought silence. Nella vita di Gesù ci sono tanti eventi dove ci troviamo che era in silenzio, ha cercato il silenzio proprio. Before choosing his disciples, before his passion, after his miracles, he withdrew to the mountain to pray. For him, silence was not escape but communion with Father, the place where discernment was born. Dove ha fatto il discernimento in silenzio. Ok. In italiano, ok. Grazie. Thank you. Saint John of the Cross, already mentioned here, captured this mystery with profound beauty. The Father spoke one word, which was his Son. And this word he speaks in eternal silence. And in the silence must it be heard by your soul. Silence teaches us that discernment begins not in argument or analysis, but in listening. Listening to the voice of the Spirit that speaks within. Pope Benedict XVI observed, silence is part of communication. Without it, words rich in content cannot exist. Only in silence can the Word of God find home in us. Without silence, he reminded us, faith becomes shallow. Truth cannot take root. Pope Francis, reflecting on the Church synodal journey, stated, the synodal process is first and foremost a journey of listening to the Spirit in adoration and prayer. He calls this listening a silence of the heart, a silence that makes room for the other and for the gentle voice of God who speaks through the people of God. Silence as foundation for dialogue. In this sense, silence is not opposed to dialogue. It is its foundation. True dialogue, whether between persons, cultures, or faiths, is born not from speaking first, but from listening deeply. As the whispers of love, the brochure reminds us, silence transforms restlessness into calm, conflict into dialogue, isolation into communion. As Your Eminence mentioned, St. Teresa of Calcutta expressed this truth with the luminous simplicity. The fruit of silence is prayer. The fruit of prayer is faith. The fruit of faith is love. The fruit of love is service. And the fruit of service is what? Peace. Pace. Interfaith dimensions of silence. Today, as we share this silence with brothers and sisters from Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Sikh and other religious traditions, we recognize that silence is a bridge stronger than words. It unites without rising differences and allows us to stand together before the mystery that transcendence has called. For Christians, silence is that mystery in communion, the movement from self to God, from isolation to relationship, from word a flow of silence and words. Silence in Christianity possesses two distinctive features: the silence of contemplation and the silence of discernment, that which we saw in the life of Jesus. While one represents passive silence, the other manifests as active and proactive silence. In the life of Jesus, we encounter the silence of discernment, and during his lifetime and after his death on Holy Saturday, there is a silence of contemplation that prevails upon the face of the earth, wherein profound communion resides. This contemplative silence finds its fulfillment in the peace greeting of the risen Lord on Easter Sunday. Therefore, the silent whispers of love operate in both active and passive modes. May our silence today be both active and passive, a silence that listens, welcomes and discerns. A silence that opens us to the Spirit's voice, guiding the Church along the synodal path of encounter, participation and mission, thus leading us toward complete union with the Trinitarian God. Thank you.
We have 2 minutes of silence, please, after we introduce the other speaker. And now, from Italian Hinduist Union, is here Chavara Cultural. Thank you.
It's really strange to me to be here in Italian to represent English. That's it, I am English. I would like, first of all, to thank the organizer for inviting the Italian Hindu Union to this beautiful meeting. And I will do my best to represent it with dignity. I believe that all religious traditions, in all religious traditions, silence plays an important role in our search for the divine. Yet, spoken word is no less important, and is an essential counterpart to silence. Dico che il silenzio è molto importante, ma anche la parola è molto importante. How could we recognize silence if words did not exist? Come potremmo riconoscere il silenzio se non potessimo parlare? And yet, here we are, trying to engage in dialogue through silence. In the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal Dharma in Hinduism, silence plays a decisive role. Countless have been and still are the many, the silent ascetics who have not uttered a word for years, while still living in the world and teaching. Many of them, through silence, have realized the absolute. But, ho parlato brevemente degli ascetici religiosi indiani che non parlano mai, per anni e anni e anni. But what kind of silence are we speaking about? The silence of speech or the silence of the mind? They are two very different things. Sono due cose molto differenti, il silenzio della parola e il silenzio della mente. To achieve the first, one must simply control speech with the mind. To achieve the second, one must master the mind itself, distinguish thoughts, bring mental activity to a heart, which is far more difficult. Per il primo basta controllare la parola con la mente, per il secondo bisogna controllare la mente, che è cosa molto più difficile. For centuries, practitioners of yoga, the yogis, have dedicated themselves to this task, guided by gurus capable of showing them the path to the silence beyond silence, that which cannot be known through words because language cannot contain it. How could it be otherwise? Thus, Dakshinamurti, the benevolent form of Shiva, is the supreme yogi, the master of knowledge, the guru of gurus, who teaches, who transmits through silence. He is represented facing the soul, seated on a high seat beneath the branches of a tree, with his right foot resting on the ground and the other leg folded, the foot placed on the opposite knee. His figure radiates deep serenity, his luminous face reflects the light of consciousness, and one hand is in the gesture of transmitting jnana, knowledge. Words are a powerful tool of communication, but silence reaches the highest level, because in silence, truth is not corrupted by words. Truth, in fact, transcends words. Silence is the essence of all words. Naturally, such communication can take place only if the relationship is such that the listener is capable of perceiving this subtle and profound emanation. This silence is, in a sense, an endless form of speaking. Therefore, I believe that if today we manage to create enough silence within our minds, some form of dialogue will indeed be possible. Silence, their words do not reach you, nor do ideas or dreams. There I remain sovereign, watching your word glide upon the waters of time. From the Rig Veda, see unity in diversity. The Divine One appears in many forms, vast in its immensity, indescribable in its glory. All the infinite lands, suns and planets that are seen and those beyond our perception exist by its command. Kindred in many folds, the eternal flame is one, illuminating the world with golden rays down, painting the evening clouds with shifting color. The sun is one. Thank you.
Give 2 minutes of silence, please. The Buddhist silence, Anna Queens, student on the Pontifical Gregoriana University in Rome. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so honored to be here. Actually, I'm a Christian, but I'm just to share my personal experience of the Buddhism. Okay, in the Buddhism understanding of the silence and the stillness, actually in Chinese we call it Jing, and then both of them we use stillness and the silence. Usually we use the 2 words make the same meaning in China. That's why the transfer is a bit different. In Buddhism thought, silence and stillness is like not only without the songs, the voice, and also you have to stay with your body, your mind, and then your heart, and to still it and unduce it. So in the stillness and the silence, which we have the 3 part different means. The first silence is as a freedom from the mental afflictions. In Zong, and we quote, when the mind is poor and the land is poor. So the second part, stillness as a weekday mode of the weakness. In Zen, we usually say that the means is that there is the stillness, silence within moments, and the moments within the silence. Then the third part, stillness and silence as a prerequisites with the describing reality. Then the second part, why the stillness and the silence is very important in the Buddhist. Then we can see the different parts. We can see also for them is 3 parts very important. The first, stillness and then silence reveals the dimension of the afflictive emotions. Then the second part, in Chinese wisdom, three of them both made together. So the last part, when you stay the stillness and liberties in the mind from the habitual patterns. So then the key of the Buddhism concept related to the stillness and silence. And we call Zhi, in Chinese Zhi is the claiming, and also Ji in Chinese we call stop. So both of them made together. Then Guan in English we transfer in seat, and also the other meaning is see. And I stay here to see all the things happened, and I will not stop them. So the first and second Zhi and Guan mixed together. And then when you stop, you can see the things more clearly. That's the mind of Buddhist. Then I will continue. Actually, this verse in Chinese we call it Nian. This pronunciation is Nirvana. I don't know very exactly or no, but in Chinese transfer. In Chinese transfer, actually, if you only see these words in China, we don't have any meaning. But we transfer use the pronunciation, and as ultimate silence, stillness. Then the stillness in Zen Buddhism, and we can see the original. There's not a sign since we are conduced alignings. Stillness in the Poor Land Buddhist. So we can see, we can follow the four parts. And the first, the reduction of the mental distraction. Then the second part, mindful awareness, not shaken by emotion. The third, inner clarity and no reactivity within activity. The last part is numerous peace, cessation of the activities process. So, in the end, silence in Buddhism is not without songs, voice, actions. Actually, it's like stay in the actions and to feel the feeling of the silence. The real meaning is a little bit similar. I think for all the religions, the religious way, we can stay in the silence to meet our God, our own God, and also we can, by the silence, we can understand more of the love. And this is our mental today. Why we are here? Why the different religions we stay here? We share different silence, but we feel the same meaning of love. Then I will take 5 minutes of the silence. Then, but I'm using some music, not without any songs or voice. So, which means in our life we couldn't to do every silence time without every song's voice to disturb us. And we will stay in our life, we will hear different voices, but we still can feel the silence. So this is a classical Chinese music. Usually Buddhists will use this kind of music to feel the silence. If this music can help you, it's good. If it couldn't help you,
us to our pastor.
From the Centro di Studi Ebraici, Chavara Cultural, Giuseppe Levi Belloni.
Shalom a tutti voi. Io parlerò nella lingua cara adatta agli ieri, tenendo presente che l'inglese è una lingua colonialista, una lingua che ormai serve la globalizzazione e il cattivo pensiero unico. Le lingue delle scritture sono l'ebraico, l'aramaico, il greco e il latino nella Chiesa di Roma. Il rapporto del mondo ebraico, dell'ebraismo con il silenzio è un po' particolare. Noi, a differenza dei cristiani, non contempliamo l'ascetismo, il cenobio, di ritirarsi in meditazione. Noi contempliamo lo stare insieme. Il popolo del Dio vive insieme, quindi è un silenzio particolare, perché la preghiera nostra è un'essenzialità che è comune. Quindi come si fa a invocare il silenzio stando insieme in tanti? E c'è la Torah che ci aiuta con degli episodi. Infatti tra il silenzio e la tradizione ebraica esiste da sempre un rapporto intenso, la relazione tra ascolto e ritiro come zona franca su cui svolgere percorsi spirituali fino all'analisi etimologica. La parola silenzio in ebraico è definita da molte radici. La prima è quella della parola do, prima della creazione, prima della Bereshit, e fu sera e fu mattina. Successivamente questa parola si femminilizza, diventa tema ma, sarebbe il silenzio nell'atto comunicativo, cioè un silenzio che comunica. Si tratta di quella voce di silenzio sottile in cui il profeta Elia riconosce la presenza divina, si spaventa e si copre il volto. Pensate per un attimo alla scena biblica della legatura di Isacco, che voi chiamate il sacrificio di Isacco. La Kedat, che in ebraico significa legatura, secondo il cui racconto Abramo si accinse a sacrificare il figlio della promessa, avuto già 90enne con Sara, ma che non fu immolato con l'ingiunzione divina, sembrava ordinare, poche pagine della scrittura sacra a ebrei e cristiani sono state più che studiate, commentate, ma anche criticate. Voi pensate, il viaggio per il Monte Moria dura 3 giorni, padre e figlio, servo, suo marello con la legna per il sacrificio, 3 giorni di silenzio abissale. Allora, dov'era Dio in quel momento? Dio c'era. Dio aveva lasciato all'uomo, al nostro padre Abramo, la posizione più difficile, quella di scegliere, ed era un atto di libertà. Per esempio, nel corso del XIX secolo c'è stato un filosofo luterano, Søren Kierkegaard, che ha elevato quel silenzio a cifra del timore e tremore di ogni vera esperienza di fede, che sfida la ragione e persino quel senso di etica e moralità che si suppone la religione debba garantire. Nell'Apocalisse si legge: quando l'agnello aprì il 7° sigillo, si fece silenzio nel cielo per circa mezz'ora. In alcune narrazioni Dio sembra del tutto assente. Ma guardate bene, in realtà agisce anche se non parla. Il silenzio di Dio è un tema non facile, che soprattutto la cultura ebraica ha affrontato dopo il dramma della Shoah. Per esempio, lo scrittore Elie Wiesel, dopo l'esecuzione di un bambino, si domanda: dov'è Dio? E noi troviamo in Isaia, capitolo 55, si dice che se Dio è in silenzio è un problema, perché significa che smette di agire. Molte volte però Dio sembra assente, eppure non lo è l'uomo che non lo nota. Nella storia di Giuseppe, ad esempio, Dio lo assise in Egitto, aiutandolo a diventare un uomo di successo, anche se non parla apertamente. E anche nella vicenda di Giobbe, Dio agisce restando in silenzio. Ma la situazione è opposta a quella di Giuseppe. Giobbe grida a Dio, ne riconosce la saggezza, ma Dio non risponde. A parlare invece sono i suoi amici, che parlano del fatto che Dio non gli apparirà. Alla fine però Dio si manifesta a Giobbe e Giobbe dice: i miei occhi vedono la tua presenza. Nel 4° precetto del Decalogo sullo Shabbat è presente un invito a coltivare il silenzio. Dio sta letteralmente nel silenzio, il senso del tutto è nel silenzio. Oggi siamo tutti sempre connessi con tutto il mondo, ma siamo disconnessi con noi stessi. Un silenzio che è scintilla del riposo di Dio dopo la creazione e al tempo stesso un silenzio che dovrebbe riempire lo Shabbat, perché anche prima del mondo messianico quel sabato senza fine, come aveva descritto più volte Eric Fromm. Oggi è sabato, noi ebrei lo santifichiamo non andando, non facendo niente, non lavorando, pregando, leggendo, ma soprattutto non andando nelle chiese. Allora voi mi direte: che ci fai oggi col capo coperto della chippa per onorare il nostro Dio, che è il Dio comune di tutte e 3 le verità? Sono qui perché insieme a voi, che siete una bella congregazione, questa mia presenza, queste mie poche parole sono una preghiera comune. Grazie a voi, shalom.
professor on Pontifical Gregorian University. Thank you.
A few words on the meaning of silence in Sufi tradition, especially in the school of Rumi, Maulana Jalaluddin Balkhi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Divine peace, mercy, and benediction be upon all of you. Dear sisters and brothers, today I want to share with you something Rumi understood deeply, something we all experience but rarely honor, the power of silence. We live in a world of constant noise, constant speech. We believe that if we can just find the right words, we can capture truth, express love, explain the divine. But Rumi asks us to pause. He reminds us that there are realities so vast, so profound, that language itself becomes a cage, too small to hold. Think of it in this way. Have you ever experienced something so beautiful, so moving that when someone asked you about it, you found yourself speechless? That was not failure. That was your soul recognizing that some truths live beyond the reach of words. Before pure beauty, we weep in silent joy of wonder. Rumi teaches us that silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is not the absence of meaning, but the presence of a meaning too great for speech to contain. Rumi distinguishes between two kinds of silence, and his distinction matters for our lives. There is a silence of ignorance, when we are quiet because we do not know, because we are confused or empty. This silence is the void. But there is the silence of realization, when we are quiet because we have touched something so real that words would only diminish it. The silence is pregnant with meaning. It is the silence of lovers gazing at each other, of mystics absorbed in the divine presence, of anyone who has glimpsed a truth too luminous for language. The first silence is where we begin. The second is where we arrive. What makes Rumi's teaching so liberating in this true silence transcends even the duality of speech and silence. It is not that speech is bad and silence is good. Both are negative, both are temporary. Rumi points to something deeper, a state of being, when you are no longer trapped in either speaking or keeping silent. You are free. In that freedom, whether you speak or stay silent becomes irrelevant, because you are rooted in a truth It means more pause. Before you rush to speak, to explain, to argue, to convince, pause. Ask yourself, is what I am about to say bringing me closer to truth or just adding more noise? It means honoring the wordless moments when you are moved by beauty, when you feel love, when you sense the sacred. Do not immediately reach for words. Let yourself rest in the experience itself. It means to recognize that the deepest understanding often comes not from more information, but from quiet receptivity. Sometimes the most profound teaching is the one spoken in silence. Rumi is not asking us to stop speaking. He is inviting us to discover what lies beneath our words, beneath our thoughts, beneath even our silence. He is inviting us to that place where all distinctions dissolve, where the teacher and student become one, where speech and silence merge, where the seeker and the sought are no longer separate. This is the great secret. The divine does not need our words, but in learning to be silent, we might finally hear what has been speaking to us all along. As Rumi himself said, the most eloquent speech is the one that knows when to bow before silence. And the truest silence is the one that contains all speech within, unspoken yet fully present. May we all find moments today to taste this silence, not as emptiness, but as the fullness from which everything emerges and to which everything returns.
Now I introduce the president of the Centro di Meditazione Cristiana, Paola Tattaglia, to speak now for the School of Silence of Sister Marisa Visio.
Good evening to everybody. So we've learned at our school that one doesn't speak so much in silence, one make experience of silence. So I just will say 2 words that Marisa has written some time ago, and then I leave we can listen to God. Silence is where we unify ourselves and find unity with the others. Because in our deeper self, we find the image of God according to which everybody is created. There are many types of silence. There is the silence of the body, of the mind, of the feelings. There is a silence to meditate, to listen, to praise, to thank, to worship. Thank you.
2 minutes and then silence because introduce Ezio Bussa.
Welcome everybody. What can I say? We are listening. All my children. Almost all of the spiritual and religious traditions. It's very, very beautiful and useful words. So what does it mean? It means that the silence is the base on which to build our, let's say, identity. I don't know if you are tired, if you want to move a little bit, to get up a little bit, because it's almost 2 hours that they are seated. But I would like to guide you in a short experience. We will do like that. I have short, very short sentences, phrases. I will first speak in English and then suddenly translate in Italian. Everything very, very slow, very quiet. And I don't know if you want to make this short experience. Nobody answered me that you want. So, don't worry, I don't have much to say. I just remember the microphone. No, first of all, the fact that I speak in English and then I translate in Italian, we don't allow this to disturb our concentration. I think this is a good mean, a good tool to live together, to share together a small experience. Okay? So, we take a position with the body relaxed, but ready, with the attention, all the attention to our body. We close our eyes. And just start breathing. Very easy. Just start breathing. Long, conscious,
the breathing. Chiudiamo gli occhi e prendiamo contatto con il respiro. Un respiro lungo, profondo, un respiro di pace. All our attention is here, in the breathing. The air enters, the air leaves. The air enters, the air leaves. Just have a rest. Give a rest to our body, give a rest to our emotion, give a rest to our mind. You will see that mind will start again to send you messages, thoughts, emotion. Come back to the breathing. We are here with all our person. We silence the body, the emotions, the thoughts. We have nothing to ask, nothing to demonstrate. Just stay. Non abbiamo niente da dimostrare, niente da chiedere, solo rimaniamo. Rimaniamo in questa nostra incarnazione. We remain in this incarnation, in the person we are. True reality is already inside us. And our spirit knows very well what we need. La vera realtà è già dentro di noi. E il nostro spirito conosce molto bene quello di cui abbiamo più bisogno.
cerchiamo di farti spazio dentro di noi, liberare un po' di spazio dentro di noi e viviamo questa presenza che è piena di niente, è solo presenza. Se abbiamo difficoltà in questi minuti di silenzio, la mente ci manda continuamente, torniamo al ritmo del respiro. Ecco, facciamo credo 5 minuti di silenzio. We have 5 minutes of silence. When mind is disturbed, just come back to the breathing. 5 minutes of silence.
We have a thank you so much, Ezio. And it was a beautiful moment all together. We have a last little surprise for our cardinal with a little song. And
Thank you, Yvonne, and the organization for inviting us. Marco Piccone is a student of mine at CIIIS. He works with me in a project about music, making music. And we sing many songs, pop, and different style of music. Music, we know it's the art of sound, but I should say it's the art of sound and silence. Silence is as much important as sound in music, and there are many different silences in music. But I just want to say one phrase about the most important one. It is the silence after the song has ended. It's part of the song. It's music itself. And now we have the habit, at least in Italy, to clap hands as soon as the song ends. Any kind of song, any real fast or slow, we soon clap hands. I think it was because of television. They taught us to do like this. So I just was asked one thing at the end of the song. Of course, if you clap your hands, we appreciate it. We are happy with it. We are happy with it. It's not a problem. But wait a moment. Enjoy the silence.
Going to check.
I want to invite you, please, first of all, you so much, my colleague Giorgio, who brought his friend, a beautiful singer. I am so touched. I want to thank you all, really all. It was your idea. Father Robbie said, Yvonne, the Intercultural School of Silence, should we create something? I said, we try. I asked my center and all my friends, my colleagues, and everybody, and all the fathers here, all the friends who came. Also my husband was here. I think he had to go then. But thank you so much, and we meet now in the refectorio to eat something, to talk, and to drink something, and thank you so much.
And let me say a word of thanks once again to His Eminence, Cardinal George Lungara, for spending a lot of time with us and meditating with us. And we know, as I have already told you, He is our pride. He is our nation's pride and our church, especially being a Syrian Catholic, Syro-Malabar Catholic priest. I feel proud to say that He is our pride. He is our pride. And the member of the country, Marco Santiago, Father, you are here. We humbly acknowledge your presence. And Father Matthew, we humbly acknowledge your loving presence. And all the fathers and sisters and all the interreligious leaders. Now let us have a small photograph with His Eminence. And I would be really happy to appreciate and thank you, Father Shaji Kuchudara, for bringing this event a reality. Because Chavara International Institute for Indian and Interreligious Studies Rome is headed by Dr. Father Shaji Kuchudara. Please. And all the fathers and sisters with our interreligious fraternity will have a photograph with His Eminence. And please. Yes, sister. Please come. We will have a photograph, please. And I would be really happy to acknowledge and appreciate Mr. Sanjay Bhatia. Akshay Bhatia ji from India, who was the coordinator of the entire program. His Novantas Travels. Santiago, please come. Father Matthew, please come. Please come, Father Matthew. Please. Come. And please, all of you, please come to this side. And we will have a
It's a photo. I will. Go ahead.
Sisters, please come, join please fathers, all the fathers. Jogi, please.
Okay, look here, guys. Just wait a second.
Okay,
can you turn this? Come this way. Okay, perfect. Close. Okay. Perfect. Okay, look here. Just wait. Okay, close. Okay, now, big smile. Still wait. One more. Look here, guys. 3, 2, 1, go. Wait a second. Sir, here. Look here, please. Keep smile. Still wait. And thank you so much.
ഭാരതം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്ത്യ ബഹുസ്വരതയുടെ നാട്, വസുദൈവ കുടുംബകം എന്ന് ഉപനിഷത്തുകളിലൂടെ ലോകത്തെ പഠിപ്പിച്ച നാട്, ലോകം മുഴുവനും ഒരു കുടുംബമാണെന്ന് പഠിപ്പിച്ച നാട്. കേരളത്തിലാണെങ്കിൽ ആദിശങ്കരൻ്റെയും അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ വിശുദ്ധ തോമാസ് ലീഹായുടെയും പാദസ്പർശനം കൊണ്ട് പവിത്രമായി തീർന്ന പുണ്യഭൂമി. അങ്ങനെ ഭാരതം മുഴുവനും അനേകം ഋഷിവരന്മാരാലും അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ താപസ മുനികളാലും അനുഗ്രഹിക്കപ്പെട്ട ആത്മീയതയുടെ നന്മ ഉറങ്ങുന്ന ഒരു നാടാണ്. ആ നാട്ടിൽ നിന്നും വത്തിക്കാനിൽ മതസംവാദ സംഭാഷണത്തിന് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള ഡെക്കാസ്ട്രിയുടെ ഹെഡായി, പ്രീഫെക്റ്റായി ഫ്രാൻസിസ് മാർപ്പാപ്പ നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ നിന്നുമുള്ള അഭിവന്യ കർദിനാൾ ജോർജ് കൂവക്കാട് പിതാവിനെ തിരഞ്ഞെടുത്തത് തീർച്ചയായും ഒരു അവിചാരിതമായി സംഭവിച്ച കാര്യമല്ല. അത് ദൈവ പദ്ധതിയുടെ ഭാഗമാണ്. ചരിത്രത്തിൽ ആദ്യമായി ലോകമത സംഭാഷണ സൗഹൃദ സമ്മേളനം നടന്നത് 1893 ചിക്കാഗോയിൽ വെച്ചാണ്. അന്ന് ഭാരതത്തിൽ നിന്ന് സ്വാമി വിവേകാനന്ദൻ അതിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുമ്പോഴും കത്തോലിക്ക സഭയുടെ പ്രതിനിധികളായി അനേകം മെത്രാന്മാരും അന്ന് അവിടെ ആ സമ്മേളനത്തിൽ പങ്കെടുത്തിരുന്നു. പിന്നീട് പതിറ്റാണ്ടുകൾ പിന്നിടുമ്പോൾ വിശുദ്ധ ജോൺ പോൾ രണ്ടാമൻ മാർപ്പാപ്പ 1986 അസീസിയിൽ വെച്ച് ലോകം മുഴുവനുമുള്ള മതനേതാക്കന്മാരെ വിളിച്ചു വരുത്തി സമാധാനത്തിന് വേണ്ടി ഒന്നിച്ച് പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. ഇതിനിടയിൽ 1965 ഒക്ടോബർ മാസം 28-ാം തീയതി രണ്ടാം വത്തിക്കാൻ കൗൺസിൽ ഇതര മതങ്ങളുമായുള്ള ബന്ധത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് ലോകം മുഴുവനും തിരുസഭാ മക്കളെ പഠിപ്പിക്കുവാൻ വേണ്ടി ഔദ്യോഗികമായി ഒരു പ്രമാണരേഖ പുറത്തിറക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. അതിൻ്റെ പേരാണ് നോസ്ത്ര എത്താത്തെ. അതായത് ലാറ്റിനിൽ അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം ഇൻ അവർ ടൈം, ഇൻ അവർ ഏജ് എന്നാണ്. അതിൻ്റെ 60ാമത്തെ വാർഷികം ഒക്ടോബർ 28-ാം തീയതി പൂർത്തിയാകുമ്പോൾ, തിരുസഭ ജൂബിലി ആഘോഷിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യൻ സഭയ്ക്ക്, കേരള സഭയ്ക്ക് മാത്രമല്ല സാർവത്രിക സഭയ്ക്ക് അഭിമാനിക്കാവുന്ന വിധത്തിൽ ആ പുണ്യനാട്ടിൽ നിന്നും പരിശുദ്ധ പിതാവ് അഭിവന്യ കർദിനാൾ ജോർജ് ജേക്കബ് കൂവക്കാട് പിതാവിനെ ഈ ഡെക്കാസ്ട്രിയുടെ പ്രീഫെക്റ്റായി നിയമിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. ഈ നിമിഷം പിതാവെ, അങ്ങയുടെ സാന്നിധ്യത്തിൽ ഈ മേഖലയിൽ പൊതുജനത്തിന് കൂടുതൽ അറിവ് പകരുവാൻ വേണ്ടി കൂടിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഈ പാനൽ ഡിസ്കഷനിലേക്ക് ഒത്തിരി സ്നേഹത്തോടെ ഏറെ സ്വാഗതം. പിതാവിൻ്റെ ഇടതുഭാഗത്തിരിക്കുന്നത് റവറൻ ഡോക്ടർ ഫാദർ റോബി കണ്ണഞ്ചിറ CMI. അദ്ദേഹം ഡൽഹിയിൽ ആ സഭയുടെ CIIIS സഭയുടെ ചാവറ കൾച്ചറൽ സെൻറ്ററിൻ്റെ ഡയറക്ടറായും അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ UN സഭയെ പ്രതിനിധീകരിച്ചൊക്കെ പല മീറ്റിങ്ങുകളിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. മാത്രമല്ല മതസൗഹൃദ സംഭാഷണ മേഖലയിൽ പ്രാവീണ്യം തെളിക്കുകയും ലോകം മുഴുവനും ചുറ്റി സഞ്ചരിച്ച് ആ മേഖലയിൽ മറ്റു മതങ്ങളുമായി സമാധാനം സ്ഥാപിക്കുവാൻ വേണ്ടി അക്ഷീണം പരിശ്രമിച്ചു കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന വ്യക്തിയാണ് റോബി അച്ഛൻ. അച്ഛൻ്റെ നേതൃത്വത്തിലാണ് ഇന്ന് ഇൻ്റർനാഷണൽ ഒരു സെമിനാർ ഇവിടെ റോമിൽ അഭിവന്യ കർദിനാൾ പിതാവിൻ്റെ അധ്യക്ഷതയിൽ ഇവിടെ ഓർഗനൈസ് ചെയ്യുകയുണ്ടായി. റോബി അച്ഛനെ ഈ മീറ്റിങ്ങിലേക്ക്, ഈ ഡിസ്കഷൻ പാനലിലേക്ക് പ്രത്യേകമായി സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. അഭിവന്യ പിതാവിൻ്റെ വലതുഭാഗത്തിരിക്കുന്ന സിസ്റ്റർ റവറൻ ഡോക്ടർ സിസ്റ്റർ ജോസ്മി ജോസ്, സിസ്റ്റർ പൊന്തിഫിക്കൽ ഫാക്കൽറ്റി ഓക്സീലിയത്തിൽ അസിസ്റ്റൻറ്റ് പ്രൊഫസറായി ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നു. സിസ്റ്റർ ഡോക്ടറേറ്റ് എടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത് ഇൻ്റർറിലീജിയസ് ഡയലോഗുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടുള്ള വിഷയത്തിലാണ്. സിസ്റ്ററിനെ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഒപ്പം തന്നെ സിസ്റ്ററിൻ്റെ തൊട്ടടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത് പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട മാത്യു വട്ടമറ്റ അച്ഛൻ USIG, USG, JPIC റോമിലുള്ള ഈ സംഘടനകളുടെ വൈസ് പ്രസിഡൻ്റായും അതിലുപരിയായി ക്ലരീഷ്യൻ കോൺഗ്രിഗേഷൻ്റെ സുപ്പീരിയർ ജനറലായും അച്ഛൻ ശുശ്രൂഷ ചെയ്യുകയാണ്. പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട മാത്യു അച്ഛനെയും ഈ ഡിസ്കഷൻ പാനലിലേക്ക് ഏറെ സ്നേഹത്തോടെ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഫാദർ ഡാനിയൽ പാലാട്ടി കുനത്താൻ അച്ഛൻ ഫ്രാൻസിസ്കൻ കോൺവെൻച്വൽ സഭയുടെ പ്രതിനിധിയാണ്. അച്ഛൻ അസീസിയിൽ അനേകം വർഷങ്ങൾ ശുശ്രൂഷ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. മതാന്തര സംവാദവുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് പ്രവർത്തിക്കുവാൻ അച്ഛൻ അവസരം ലഭിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അച്ഛനും ഈ പാനലിലേക്ക് ഏറെ സ്നേഹത്തോടെ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. അഭിവന്യ പിതാവേ, മതാന്തര സംവാദത്തെക്കുറിച്ച്, ഈ വിഷയത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് എക്ലസിയാസ്റ്റിക്കൽ സർക്കിളിൽ പൊതുജനത്തിന് അറിയാമെങ്കിലും ലോകം മുഴുവനും പൊതുജനത്തിന് ഈ വിഷയത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് ആഴമായ ഒരു അറിവ് ഇപ്പോഴും ഉണ്ടോ എന്ന് ഒരു സംശയമുണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ സഭയുടെ സുവിശേഷ ദൗത്യത്തിന് മതസൗഹാർദ്ദം എത്രമാത്രം വിലപ്പെട്ടതാണ് കത്തോലിക്ക സഭയിലെന്നും മതസൗഹൃദ സംവാദം എന്താണെന്നും അങ്ങയുടെ അനുഭവത്തിൻ്റെ വെളിച്ചത്തിലും ഒപ്പം പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഈ ഡെക്കാസ്റ്റയുടെ ഹെഡ് എന്ന നിലയ്ക്കും ഒന്ന് പങ്കുവയ്ക്കാൻ സാധിക്കും.
ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട അച്ഛാ, പ്രിയമുള്ളവരെ, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട് ഈ പ്രകാരം ഒരു അവസരമൊരുക്കിയതിന് പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട് നന്ദി പറയുകയാണ്. ആദ്യമേ തന്നെ മത സൗഹാർദ്ദം, മതാന്തര സംവാദം, ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളെപ്പറ്റി തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നമ്മൾ ചിന്തിക്കുമ്പോൾ സമൂഹത്തിൽ സമാധാനത്തിനും സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യത്തിനും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ സാമൂഹ്യ നീതിക്കും പിന്നെ നാം ഒരുമിച്ച് സമൂഹത്തിൽ പ്രയത്നിക്കേണ്ട വേറൊരു പ്രധാന കാര്യം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് പരിസ്ഥിതി സംരക്ഷണം. ഒത്തൊരുമിച്ച് സമൂഹത്തിൽ ആധ്യാത്മികവും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ധാർമ്മികവുമായിട്ടുള്ള മൂല്യങ്ങൾ വളർത്തിയെടുക്കുക. ഇക്കാര്യങ്ങൾ മറ്റ് മതങ്ങളോട് ചേർന്ന് ആദരവോടെ ധാരണ പുലർത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് പരസ്പരം സഹകരിക്കുവാനായിട്ടുള്ള ശ്രമങ്ങളെയാണ് നമ്മൾ മതാന്തര സംവാദം എന്നതുകൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. നമ്മൾ ആദരവോടി പരസ്പരം കണ്ടുമുട്ടിക്കൊണ്ട് പരസ്പരം മനസ്സിലാക്കിക്കൊണ്ട് ഒരുമിച്ച് പ്രവർത്തിക്കുവാനായിട്ടുള്ള എല്ലാ പരിശ്രമങ്ങളും ആണിത് വഴിയായിട്ട് തിരുസഭ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. നമുക്കറിയാം, ഈശോയുടെ ജനനത്തിൽ മാലാഖമാരാലപിക്കുന്നത് സമാധാനത്തിൻ്റെ ഗാനമാണ്, സമാധാനത്തിൻ്റെ ആഹ്വാനമാണ്. ഈശോയുടെ മലയിലെ പ്രസംഗവും ഈശോയുടെ ജീവിതവും ഒക്കെ നിറഞ്ഞു നിൽക്കുന്നത് സമാധാന സംസ്ഥാപകർക്ക് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള ക്ഷണമാണ്. ഈശോ ഉത്ഥിതനായതിനു ശേഷമുള്ള ആദ്യത്തെ ആശംസയും നമുക്ക് സമാധാനം ആശംസിച്ചുകൊണ്ടാണ്. ഇപ്രകാരം ലോകത്തിൽ നമ്മളെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം സുവിശേഷത്തിൻ്റെ സന്ദേശം, സുവിശേഷത്തിൻ്റെ സന്തോഷം കൊടുക്കുക എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ സമാധാനപരമായ ഒരു ജീവിതം നയിക്കുന്ന എല്ലാവർക്കും അവസരമുണ്ടാക്കുക. സമാധാനം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എന്താണ്? അത് നീതി ഉണ്ടാവണം, സത്യമുണ്ടാവണം, എങ്കിൽ മാത്രമേ യഥാർത്ഥ സമാധാനം ഉണ്ടാവുകയുള്ളൂ. അനീതിയുള്ള അസത്യത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരവസ്ഥയിൽ യഥാർത്ഥ സമാധാനം ഉണ്ടാവുകയില്ല. അപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവർക്കും തുല്യമായിട്ടുള്ള അവസരങ്ങൾ നൽകിക്കൊണ്ട് സമാധാനപരമായിട്ട് നീതിയിലും സത്യത്തിലും ജീവിക്കാനുള്ള അവസരമൊരുക്കുക. അത് സുവിശേഷത്തിൽ വിശ്വസിക്കുക നമ്മളെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം വളരെ പ്രധാനമാണ്.
എനിക്കത് പിതാവ് പറഞ്ഞത് വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒരു കാര്യം തന്നെ. പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് നോസ്ട്രേത്താത്ത രണ്ടാമത്തെ അനുച്ഛേദത്തിൽ പ്രത്യേകം പറയുന്നുണ്ട്, ഈ ഒരു ഡോക്യുമെൻ്റിൻ്റെ ലക്ഷ്യം തന്നെ പൊതു നന്മയെ മുന്നം വെച്ചുകൊണ്ട് കൂട്ടായ്മയിൽ എല്ലാവരും ജീവിക്കുവാനായിട്ട് സഹായിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി കൂടിയാണ് ആ ഒരു ഡോക്യുമെൻ്റ് പ്രമാണരേഖ പുറത്തിറക്കിയതെന്നും മറ്റ് മതങ്ങളിലുള്ള നന്മയുടെ സത്യത്തിൻ്റെ അംശങ്ങളെ ഒരിക്കലും നിരാകരിക്കാതെ സഭ ഉൾക്കൊള്ളുന്നുവെന്നും പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ടത് പഠിപ്പിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. താങ്ക് യു പിതാവേ, അങ്ങയുടെ പങ്കുവച്ച ചിന്തകൾക്ക്. മതാന്തര സംവാദത്തിലെ ഡെക്കാസ്ട്രിയുടെ പ്രീഫെക്റ്റ് എന്ന നിലയ്ക്ക് അങ്ങ് എന്തൊക്കെ അന്താരാഷ്ട്ര സംരംഭങ്ങളാണ്, പുതിയ ഇനിഷ്യേറ്റീവ്സ് ആണ് എന്തെങ്കിലും അങ്ങനെ എടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതൊന്ന് പങ്കുവയ്ക്കുന്നത് പൊതുജനത്തിന് കൂടുതൽ അറിയുവാനായിട്ട് ആഗ്രഹമുണ്ടായിരിക്കാം. ഒപ്പം തന്നെ ലോകമെമ്പാടും സത്യം പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇഷ്ടംപോലെ മത സൗഹൃദ സംഭാഷണ കേന്ദ്രങ്ങളുണ്ട്. കത്തോലിക്ക സഭയ്ക്കുണ്ട്, മറ്റ് സഭകൾക്കുണ്ട്, മറ്റു മതങ്ങൾക്കുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട് തിരുസഭയുടെ കീഴിലുള്ള ലോകം മുഴുവനും പടർന്നു കിടക്കുന്ന ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള സംരംഭങ്ങളെ, ഈ കൂട്ടായ്മകളെ ശക്തിപ്പെടുത്തുവാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കും എന്ന് പിതാവിനൊന്ന് പങ്കുവയ്ക്കാൻ സാധിക്കും? അത് മറ്റുള്ളവർക്കൊരു പ്രചോദനമായിരിക്കാം. പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് പല സ്ഥലത്ത് ഇത് ഉറങ്ങിക്കിടക്കുന്ന പോലെ തോന്നിയിട്ടുണ്ട് ഈ ഒരു മേഖല.
മതാന്തര സംവാദത്തിന് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള ഡിക്കാസ്ട്രി എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് നമ്മുടെ ഭാഷയിൽ മനസ്സിലാക്കാനായിട്ട് ഇതൊരു കേന്ദ്ര മന്ത്രിസഭയിലുള്ള ഒരു മന്ത്രാലയമാണ്. അതായത് കത്തോലിക്ക സഭയ്ക്ക് ലോകമെമ്പാടുമുള്ള വിവിധ മതങ്ങളുമായിട്ടുള്ള ബന്ധത്തെ പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട് ഒന്ന് ക്രോഡീകരിക്കുവാനും അതിനെ വേണ്ട രീതിയിൽ അതിനുള്ള പ്രാധാന്യവും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ വിവിധ പരിപാടികളിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടുത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് ബന്ധങ്ങൾ പുതുക്കുകയും നിലനിർത്തുകയും ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ള ദൗത്യമാണ് പ്രധാനമായിട്ട് നമുക്കുള്ളത്. അതിനു വേണ്ട പരിപാടികൾ പ്രഥമവും പ്രധാനമായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുന്നത് അതാത് രാജ്യങ്ങളിലുള്ള വത്തിക്കാൻ്റെ എംബസി, വത്തിക്കാൻ അപ്പസ്തോലിക് നunciate എന്ന വത്തിക്കാൻ എംബസിയോടും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ അവിടെയുള്ള മെത്രാൻ സംഘത്തോടും ചേർന്നുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ പരിപാടികൾ സംഘടിപ്പിക്കാറുള്ളത് പ്രാദേശികമായ നിലയിൽ. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒരു കാര്യം വത്തിക്കാനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം ഇവിടെ റോമിൽ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന വിവിധ രാജ്യങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നുള്ള സംഘങ്ങൾ, മറ്റ് മതത്തിൽപ്പെട്ടവരുടെ സംഘങ്ങൾ ഇവിടെ എത്താറുണ്ട്, നേതാക്കന്മാരെത്താറുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ആ അവസരങ്ങളിലെല്ലാം അവർക്ക് ഏത് തലത്തിലുള്ള പ്രാധാന്യമാണ്, എപ്രകാരമാണ് അവർക്ക് യോജ്യമായിട്ടുള്ള രീതിയിൽ ഇവിടെ വത്തിക്കാനിൽ അവരെ സ്വീകരിക്കേണ്ടത്, ആരൊക്കെയാണ് അവരൊക്കെ കാണേണ്ടത്, ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം ക്രോഡീകരിക്കുന്നത് ഈ നമ്മുടെ ഡികാസ്റ്റർ വഴിയായിട്ടാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം ഇവിടെ കുറച്ചധികം പരിപാടികൾ ഡികാസ്റ്റർ സംഘടിപ്പിക്കാറുണ്ട്. സാധാരണഗതിയിൽ ഇപ്പം ഉദാഹരണം പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അടുത്ത വർഷത്തെ പരിപാടികളിൽ ഒന്ന് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇറാഖിൽ നിന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഡെലിഗേഷൻ ഇവിടെ